It seems like there's a new beef between musicians every single day, and if the following bands and artists had to go to their rooms until they cooled off, it would probably take so long that they would end up dead and buried there. Singer Axl Rose and guitarist Slash of Guns N' Roses have been estranged for almost 20 years, all because Slash wants to rock and Axl wants to do whatever it is that he wants to do. Axl's near-psychotic perfectionism, plus his knack for regularly delaying shows for hours and then storming off halfway through, caused the two to self-destruct in 1996.
I think you've got a situation where nobody involved wants to revisit. It's not just me, it's the whole band.
With the exception of a reunion at Coachella in 2016, the pair have done nothing together since, and it's apparently because Axl just didn't want to. Even when GNR was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2012, Axl didn't appear, instead firing off an open letter publicly refusing the invite. Things have been going pretty smoothly since Coachella, and the pair may have even patched things up permanently. But if you're a fan of hearing new music, it probably doesn't matter, and chances are you've long since sided with Slash anyway. Since the last GNR album with both Axl and Slash, Slash has released 3 solo albums plus 2 more with Velvet Revolver. As for Axl, he's dropped only 1 new album, in which he got overshadowed by a guy wearing a KFC bucket on his head. At first, the feud between the Red Hot Chili Peppers and Faith No More was kinda cute. The two bands were both members of the fledgling funk metal genre, and at one time, Faith No More would occasionally open for the Peppers. So everything was pretty amicable until Peppers lead singer Anthony Kiedis saw Faith No More's video for Epic. He became convinced that Faith No More singer Mike Patton was stealing his moves, and he worried fans would think the Peppers were the copycats. But at the time, it didn't really escalate beyond the two men taking occasional verbal jabs at each other. But then in 1999, Faith No More went on hiatus and Patton returned to his other band, Mr. Bungle. That summer, Mr. Bungle received notice that they'd been cut from the lineup at several festivals because the Peppers, specifically Kiedis, were threatening to pull out of shows if Mr. Bungle didn't get the boot. So in response, Mr. Bungle performed at a Halloween show dressed as the Peppers. That was bad enough, but they then mocked the band by butchering all their songs and even going so far as pretending to inject heroin, a drug that the Peppers have a troubled history with. Imagine if you achieved fame and thanked the guy who inspired you, but then that guy expressed regret over that inspiration. That's pretty much exactly what happened between Rage Against the Machine and Limp Bizkit. It wasn't just a case of one band not appreciating the admiration of the other, either. Rage got a kick in the metaphorical man parts when Limp Bizkit's Break Stuff beat out Rage's Sleep Now in the Fire for Best Rock Video at the 2000 MTV Video Music Awards. As Limp Bizkit accepted their award, Rage bassist Tim Comerford crashed the stage, climbed a 20-foot fake palm tree, and refused to come down. Even after that, Limp Bizkit regularly covered Rage songs and sometimes even spoke enthusiastically about the band that inspired them. Frontman Fred Durst even told a crowd in 2014 that Rage's Killing in the Name had changed his life. Durst's childlike admiration only seemed to embarrass Rage Against the Machine, though. As Comerford told Rolling Stone in 2015, "I do apologize for Limp Bizkit. I really do. I feel really bad that we inspired such bullshit." While there are exceptions, it's usually a good rule of thumb to never go into business with your significant other. Case in point, Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham, who were a couple when they joined Fleetwood Mac. In 1977, the band released Rumors, one of the best-selling albums of all time, but everything fell apart soon afterward. The members barely spoke to each other in the studio, and when it was over, everyone broke up, including Nicks and Buckingham. But the bad vibes had been brewing for a while. The couple took out their frustrations with each other in the music itself. Landslide and Rhiannon were allegedly about Nicks' relationship with Buckingham, and Buckingham wrote the scathing Go Your Own Way about Nicks. The feud between the exes went on for years until 2018 when the band fired Buckingham over a disagreement. But according to the band's manager, it was actually because Buckingham smirked during Nicks' speech at the Music Cares benefit show. Buckingham responded by suing the whole band for breach of contract.
That she gave them an ultimatum, either Lindsey goes or I go.
Simon and Garfunkel's decades of acrimony started literally from the beginning. After Paul Simon and Art Garfunkel recorded their first album together, Simon ignored it in favor of touring solo abroad, which makes us wonder why he agreed to team up in the first place. After the pair split in 1970, they didn't work together again for 5 years. Once they finally recorded a new tune, they bickered so much over who owned it that they both released it on their own solo albums. It makes you wonder if they also draw a line in the middle of the studio so neither could sully the other's side. Then came a historic free concert in Central Park in 1981 that was followed by an extended tour, but this turned out to be a very temporary reconciliation. A planned reunion album became a solo Simon album that nobody liked, and they divorced yet again. They've reunited for quickie money tours occasionally since then, but each time their differences take over and they storm off before killing one another. More recently, Simon has claimed that his resentment reached a fever pitch when Garfunkel started pursuing an acting career in the early 70s, while Garfunkel has outright called Simon an idiot who threw away duo potential over solo selfishness. Furthermore, he blames himself, saying that his kindness towards Simon in high school, quote, created a monster. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more grunge videos about your favorite musicians are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.